Welcome to another edition of Small Talk for You. Kind of continuing on with our basic usage of Pharo thing, what we're going to do today is add some tests to our counter application. So we've got our class counter, we've got our little behavior here. The pattern in Pharo seems to be that when you have a package called counter app or whatever, I have a matching package which I'm going to add called whatever you call this dash tests. So I'm going to create a package for that, and now I'm going to add a new class, and we're going to call it, let's say, counter tests. Doesn't need to have any instance variables, but I do need to subclass it from something else. So I'm going to subclass it from test case, and I'm going to say OK. And now I get my testing class, and what I'm going to do is add a new category here. So I'm going to add testing, and it's going to put that in there. And now at this point, what I'm going to do is test counter initialization. So we're going to test that when we create one, it starts with 0. So let's say counter equal counter new. Well, actually, let's try capital C counter new. And then self assert, because that's the way test cases work. We're asserting something. Counter count equals 0. So let's Apple S on that. And again, it's going to prompt me. So I'll say OK. And apparently I didn't name, I need to declare this thing here, so I'm going to declare a temporary variable. So it puts that in for me because I have this temporary variable. And now at this point, what I want to do is I want to bring up the test runner, and I'm going to go down, I think, to the bottom, but let's just go ahead and start typing, and it'll find it for me. And now I can run my test, so I'm going to run the selected test, and sure enough, it passed. So at this point, I've created a test package, and I've been able to run my test. So let's create one more, so test counter add 1, we'll add a new one. Now I could have just added this in, but because I'm not testing initialization, I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to say, let's assert that formerly there, and then we'll also do self, we'll say counter add 1, so we'll use the behavior. And now what we'll do is assert that counter count equal 1. So that should be the case. So we'll Apple S on that. Now we'll go to the test runner, and now we'll go in here to counter test, and we'll run both of those, and we should get 2 runs and 2 passes. So that's really all there is to doing this in Pharo. You create your tests as a subclass of test case, add your tests, and I didn't really mention this, but I should. The tests are assumed to begin with the word test, so that's how they work. And your assertions should be Boolean expressions. So here I'm asserting that this expression equals 1, so that's a Boolean expression. That's what an assertion is. Any test case can have more than one assertion in it. It doesn't need to have just one. You don't need to have, say, 50 tests, each with one assertion. You could have one test with 50. Now, it'd be harder to track down problems that way, so there's kind of a balance to be struck here. But in general, if it makes sense to have more than one assertion in a test case, go ahead and put more than one assertion in a test case. Here I wanted to assert, does it initialize right, and does it add 1 right? And I also wanted a test for, does it actually start up the right way? So those are the kinds of things you want to balance, and that's a little more basic usage of Pharo. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with whatever small talk you're using.